Their choice of who to highlight and shit to focus on, I feel like it really shows that there's a lack of diversity in Complex. It shows that there's no real ass people really working for Complex. I don't know, I just don't fuck with it all in all. I hate Complex. I think they're a bunch of culture vultures. If you walk into, for example, I walked into Complex, I've actually been into their office, I didn't see anybody who looks like me. If you ask me, that's kind of ridiculous.
But the people behind the scenes aren't necessarily the ones that are being viewed to the public. They're still putting on a lot of people within the hip hop community, as far as like black culture and all that stuff, on like the front of magazines. They're still putting their music out. They're still showing them as far as like the style, like streetwear style, which is very urban, very hip hop culture right there.
To be honest, and as a black man, I'm gonna let you know people are always watching us. So whether somebody else puts it on a platform, it's gonna be seen. Once it's on a black person, it's gonna be seen, it's gonna go viral. I don't think you need any platform, any streaming platform, especially like, I don't know, I guess it's God-given, but it's a gift.
I feel like it's better to kind of put it all together and so it has a focused view. I think that's what Complex does for people, is it kind of takes everything and then it feeds it to the people that want to see it, whether it's black community, the Latino community, white people, all different types of races. I think they do a really good job of putting everything together and saying this is the cream of the crop.
With today's day and age and the technology we have, it's almost like you don't need it. You can get on yourself by just posting a bunch of videos on Instagram or YouTube or SoundCloud, what have you, Twitter, any of those social media platforms, you can really get your stuff out. So it's almost redundant that they're still kind of around, if you ask me, or they have so much clout in the game. I think it's pretty redundant.
How many people are actually making money off of doing these one-off little viral videos, doing whatever they're doing? This is a business. This is providing income for people and providing a space so that they can create and build off of this stuff so that they can feed themselves and potentially feed their families off of that. So just because you go viral doesn't mean you're necessarily gonna come out of it with, you know, a new house or some income so you can provide for people around you. That's what Complex is doing for the culture. They're providing jobs for people that love the culture.
Is that providing jobs for the talent or jobs for behind the scenes? Because behind the scenes, I mean, you have, for example, the sneaker show. It's not a black man. He might have been in the sneaker culture heavy, right? But as far as when these rappers are talking about stories of, yo, my mom couldn't afford these shoes, or I had to trap, I don't think they can relate. For me, it's more so of like a relation thing. Like, it almost seems like they're even nervous when they're doing these interviews, or they look a little scared, frigid. And I mean, mix it up a little bit.
This guy is a true sneakerhead. I think that should speak on itself. Why would you want someone who's up in here talking about shoes and they don't even really care about shoes? So I think the talent supersedes necessarily what you should look like if you want to represent the culture.
When you think of Complex, right? You think of Complex and you think of hip hop. Aside from the hip hop, right? What faces do you see, or what images pop in your head? Like, let's say we get away from hip hop a little bit. What else does Complex do for people like me besides exploit their talents?
They just create another avenue so that it brings everybody in together. It's not like hip hop culture was made to exclude anybody. If anything, it was made to kind of bring people together, to bring community inside. Because look, hip hop started, it was black culture, but right behind that was a Latino culture. But I mean, you don't see many people looking like me up on Complex, but I'm also not complaining about it because I know that they represent the culture in its genuine state.
But I think you should be complaining about it, because if we're talking about bringing everything together, why don't we have every face together? We're seeing one face. You're either gonna see a bunch of Asians or you're gonna see a bunch of white people. And honestly, I think being brown and being black, we have the most appropriated cultures probably on the planet right now.
Mm-hmm. If we stop judging people on, you don't look like me, that shouldn't stop me from appreciating that you really care about it. You know what I mean? And I think, yeah, you got to prove yourself a little bit. I think that's fair to say. You can't just come up in here and be like, I'm representing the culture, but then you really don't know much about it. But as long as they can acknowledge where it came from, look back on the history and appreciate, then they put their stamp on it to take it even further, which is what Complex is doing, which is why I love what they're doing so much through different avenues. Shoes, they got First We Feast. They got the Complex News coming and talking about what's going on within the hip hop community. I think that all kind of ties it back in, gives it one kind of focused view, and it's taking it to the next level.
How do you feel Complex projects all the music to everybody and they get the music to the culture? If that's the case, why don't they have like a freshman list like Double XL? Like Double XL, for example, would be a better musical argument for me, in my opinion, because Double XL does a freshman cover. Mm-hmm. Possible people we don't know, and they put them on a magnifying glass. They do a freestyle for them. They put them on the cover of magazines. Mm-hmm. They give them all this publicity and this hype for a solid month, putting out their content. How do you feel about Complex? I feel like Complex doesn't do that. I feel like Complex comes up to things that are already shining. It's like seeing a diamond in the ground, right? And the diamond is shining. Is that diamond shining whether you pick it up or not? It definitely is. So Complex, I feel like they just grab things that are already popping and kind of run with it, kind of like that whack-ass girl, Yes Jules.
It's not like everybody subscribes to all these different platforms. That's why we have all these different news stations, you know what I mean? You kind of bring in your own audience, and maybe someone doesn't subscribe to Double XL. Maybe it just doesn't, it's not their kind of vibe, so they go to Complex, you know what I mean? So yeah, maybe they're not bringing up anything new necessarily. I mean, they have in the past. They put their artists on, the Complex magazine back when it was still going on and all that. But just because they're bringing something that has already been seen through a different station doesn't mean that Complex shouldn't touch it, because they should just go to Double XL. It's still a competitive market, you know what I mean? And even still, it's still going to the people. It's not like they're picking that diamond up and then roughing it up and then presenting and be like, look, this diamond is bad now.
All in all, still, with all the appropriation going on, Complex is pretty whack, if you ask me. I think they get a bunch of cornballs in office as well. If you should go take time and go see their office. You walk in there, you'll be like, oh shit, what the hell is this person doing? They all seem like internet trolls. And they showed their ass with that because, they had that show Everyday Struggle. They brought up that one, who's that fucking weirdo? DJ Academics.
Yeah.
Is he even a DJ? Who fucking knows? But they brought him, and they have this girl that they punk all day. They tell her to shut up, and she shuts up. She has no energy. And then you have Mr. Joe Budden, who's just a big-ass bully, right? And Joe has valid points about today's culture, and, his numbers speak for itself. He was signed to what? Slaughterhouse with Eminem. You can't argue certain shit, right? I think that's maybe the one good thing Complex has done in a really long time, but other than that, Complex is pretty fucking whack, bro.
I'll have to disagree with you. I feel like what they've done overall, that's just one little facet of what they've done. I know it kind of fell apart. It wasn't like the most, glorified thing that Complex has done. But I think if any artist in hip hop says, I was on the cover, I was featured on Complex, I've been through that little gauntlet that they have. Yeah, they don't have a Double XL Cypher style thing where they put on these rappers, but I still think that's a big milestone for anybody that wants to get put into hip hop.
I think people can do it without Complex, because if you ask me, well, we kind of know black and brown push the culture, especially black. I'm going to speak biasly. Well, I feel like it's kind of fact. But if you're going to take all those things into consideration, I feel like you should have raw people working for you, real people who know exactly what's going on in hip hop culture, who can directly relate. I think you would produce even way better content. You would put out probably better music, because now who's Complex really highlighting? They highlight people like Post Malone and shit. Post Malone's trash to me, to be honest. He's a hillbilly with a hit rap record. Their choice of who to highlight and shit to focus on, I feel like it really shows that there's a lack of diversity in Complex. it shows that there's no real ass people really working for Complex. I don't know, I just don't fuck with it all in all.
If we go with your argument saying we need some more people of color to represent ourselves, I think if you're just excluding it to just black or brown people, then you're not even diversifying. You're still keeping it within one or two races. I think that they do a really great job of expanding it, trying to bring more people in, make it more inclusive rather than exclusive. So yeah, maybe they don't look like you, but like I said, the intention is still there. Shoot, as far as even Post Malone goes, he's still a very talented guy. I think you could say that. I think you could argue.
Post Malone is not talented. I don't buy it. I don't get it. I don't see it. He look dirty as hell. He be with Justin Bieber every day. His music doesn't sound that good. It sounds no different than any of the other bullshit that has come out in this mumble rap generation, to be honest. The fact that I've seen him so much, for example, on my Explore page through Complex's website, I think that's like really ridiculous. And it just goes to show, like, I feel like it's proving all my points that they don't know what's going on because they don't have real ass people who are really connected to what's going on. To highlight your point, how you said, well, if it's only black people in Complex, how is it gonna get to everybody else? Well, shit, Michael Jordan was dunking a basketball, right? It got to fucking everybody. Was Michael Jordan famous because of white people? Fuck no. Michael Jordan is famous because he was one of the greatest basketball players to ever live. Same shit with Kobe, we can go on. The list goes on. That's like saying Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson shit got to the whole fucking world. Michael Jackson would come on stage and people would literally fucking die. Like, you can't give that credit to like certain platforms is what I'm saying. I think people's talent speaks for itself. And mind you, all these people I'm speaking of are black. So if the talent's gonna be black, have some of the supporting cast be black too. That's all I'm saying.
So if you're saying Michael Jordan is a black man and he slam dunk on people and that's how he got famous, well, what was he a part of? What kind of association was he part of? The NBA. So I would say that
Which is majority black.
The people running it, I don't think so. I don't know too much of the history, but I'm sure it started out with a bunch of white people saying, "Hey, we should put this association together." Now that there's the ABA, that's a different thing. The NBA though, still ran by a bunch of white people. Still the CEO is like some Jewish guy. Still, but they now with people starting to come out and realize that these black men are more than just talent. Now they're starting to work behind the scenes. I think that's what Complex is doing too. Started out and is working. Now they're trying to put more people on. They're still showing that the talent is the black people, but I think they're providing more and more jobs. Shoot, so most of the people I've been seeing in this building right here are black people.
Because they doing the right shit. Shout out to All Deaf Digital. They doing the right shit. They got the right idea. It's diverse in here. You know? I feel represented, and at the same time, I feel like I'm gaining other cultures. Shout out to All Deaf Digital. Complex, get your shit together.
All right, man. Great debating with you. I appreciate your perspective, but I think we'll have to agree to disagree.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Word.
What up, squad? I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, you can hit the subscribe button. You can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram by clicking the links below. Until next time, thanks for watching All Deaf Music.